Question number 6, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Defence. What is the government doing to engage New Zealand public on the future of the Defence Force?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I recently announced the beginning of a public consultation process on the 2015 Defence White Paper. We're asking the views of New Zealanders on the future capabilities of the New Zealand Defence Force. A series of public meetings will be held around the country to better inform the consultation process. The meeting schedule and the information on the submission process can be found at www.defence.govt.nz.
Supplementary question, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, why is the government undertaking the 2015 Defence White Paper?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the White Paper, which is intended to be published before the end of the year, will be a blueprint for how the government plans to address the security threats, challenges and opportunities facing New Zealand over a 25-year period. Recognising that matters affecting our security can change rapidly, it's my view that a 5-yearly cycle for white papers is desirable. The White Paper 2015, therefore, will review and build on the 2010 White Paper while outlining the roles and tasks that the Defence Force should undertake in responding to challenges, as well as the capabilities and resources it needs to carry out its roles and tasks effectively.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, is the Minister prepared to engage the public and Defence Force families on the more immediate issue of his assessment of the risks posed to New Zealand soldiers in Taji, just over 100 kilometres away from Ramadi, which has just fallen to ISIS?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the government has been very cautious about its commitment to the building partner capacity in Iraq, and therefore is very concerned always, and has been from the outset, about the security of soldiers who are participating in that program at Taji. That will continue.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, you'll recall I asked the Minister for his assessment of the risk. I don't think he touched on that at all.
Again, that question in my mind was addressed as marginal as to whether the question should be allowed in. The member currently used the word about will he engage with the public, so on that basis I allowed it through. Honourable Phil Goff,
supplementary question, Mr Speaker. In engaging the public, will he ensure them that soldiers deployed to Taji for the non-combat role of training will not soon be engaged in a major firefight and attack?
Honourable Jerry Brown.
Well, Mr Speaker, as we've said right from the start, it's not our intention that New Zealand troops in Iraq for the training mission will be engaged in frontline combat. What we have said is that there is a force protection unit. It's not the sort of matter that people should be joking about, frankly, Mr Parker. The point I would make is that we've always said that we would review New Zealand's commitment depending on the circumstances that existed, and of course that if they come under fire, we'd expect them to protect themselves.
Question number 7, Julianne Genter.